Black Widow is the first movie of the MCU's Phase 4 and stars the likes of Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, David Harbour, and Rachel Weisz. Taking place in between Civil War and Infinity War, Black Widow follows Natasha as she reunites with her childhood family en route to taking down the leader of the Black Widow program. When the trailer dropped for Black Widow, when was that, like 7 years ago? I was really excited for this movie. The trailer was fantastic. It got me pumped up for a movie that originally, before it even had a trailer and was announced, I wasn't really that excited for, but the trailer got me on board with this movie and I was super excited to see it. Though, as many people know, and this is a spoiler for Avengers Endgame in case you have not seen that movie yet, but in that film, Black Widow dies, and this movie, Black Widow, comes out 2 years after Avengers Endgame. Originally, it was supposed to come out only a year after, but now it's 2 because of COVID, and it feels like it's a bit too late for a Black Widow movie. I feel like it should have come out directly after Captain America Civil War, considering that's when this movie takes place, right after that film. So knowing Natasha's fate before even seeing the movie, as well as the fact that this film takes place 5 years ago in the MCU timeline, makes this movie more forgettable, and I really wish that was not the case. The best things I have to say about Black Widow are the additions of David Harbour's The Red Guardian, along with Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. Both of them were really good in the movie. They nailed the Russian accents, their chemistry is excellent, and the family feels like a real family. Everyone is saying it. Both of those characters are easily the best characters in the movie, and at times they even overshadow Natasha, which I think is kind of problematic considering this is a Black Widow movie. We came here to see Black Widow, and we get the Red Guardian and Yelena Belova. This in no way, shape, or form is the best work I've seen from Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff. And that, my friends, is disappointing. I went into this movie thinking we were going to see the very best version of Black Widow yet, and unfortunately, this was probably the worst of Black Widow that I've seen since Iron Man 2. Sure, the continuity in Black Widow is perfect. They do a really good job in transitioning from Civil War into this movie. That is all as good as you could ever get in terms of continuity. And it feels like the right story to have for a Natasha Romanoff solo movie. For story purposes, it makes the most amount of sense to have Natasha retrace her steps and take down the man responsible for turning her into the person she is today. And while she's really skilled, she probably wishes she could have lived a normal life from day one like so many other ordinary girls, but unfortunately, someone turned her into an assassin from childhood, and now there's no going back for her. So the cast, the continuity, and the story are all good, but again, I can't look past that this movie should have come out 5 years ago, directly after Civil War. It just makes no sense that Black Widow was supposed to be the movie that kicked off Phase 4 for the MCU. It feels so out of place, and even though I did not like WandaVision that much, I am happy that that ended up being the one that kickstarted Phase 4 instead of Black Widow, because it at least takes place after Avengers Endgame, unlike this one. I did mention that I like the additions of Harbour and Pugh in the movie, but at the same time, of course, they underutilized them. They never reached their full potential in the movie. The Red Guardian barely does anything, and when he does do something, he gets his butt kicked. And before seeing the movie, something I was really anticipating discovering was the identity of the film's main villain, the Taskmaster, somebody who apparently is really cool in the comics and one of the comics' best villains. And I got behind the villain's identity at some point when it was revealed. No spoilers, obviously, but they still fumbled it. This villain could have been so much better. I was expecting one of the most electric, badass villains in the MCU of all time, but now I am thinking that we're probably never going to see this villain again in the MCU, right? And you know what else bugged me about Black Widow? It's not only the fact that they underutilized so many great characters, but it's also the movie's action. While at times the movie's action is undeniably entertaining, it gets to the point of ridiculousness more than once. Now, Black Widow, she's a human. She doesn't have superpowers. She doesn't even have a suit like Iron Man. If she falls from the top of a skyscraper that's, say, 50 stories, she's dead in an instant. However, the action in Black Widow felt way too over the top for a Black Widow movie. You really have to suspend your disbelief multiple times during your viewing of Black Widow. I literally question whether or not she took super soldier serum in the movie. I mean, come on. How invincible can these characters possibly get? I know she dies in Endgame, but seriously, man. Just how does one person who has no superpowers survive everything that's thrown at her way in this movie? It felt like I was watching Fast and Furious 9 all over again, and even when the action's not on the screen, the movie's kind of boring. The middle of this movie really drags. There are barely any memorable moments in Black Widow, and if you compare this one to the rest of the MCU solo films, I might have to put it at the very bottom. It's just so disappointing. On the bright side, Natasha finally got a solo movie. I just wish it could have been done a lot better. I am giving Black Widow a 47%. It kills me to do that. It really does. Maybe if this movie was released sometime after Civil War and before Doctor Strange, it would have fared better for myself and many other people, but I just don't really see how that could at all improve the score here. This movie, even if it came out around then, would still not be that good. Of course, though, guys, if you also have your thoughts on Black Widow, be sure to let me know below in the comment section what those thoughts are. And as always, guys, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.